Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 1993, 403,000 people infected. Japan, the Netherlands, Canada, South Africa. Outbreaks of Criptosporidium and Giardia have occurred worldwide, causing illness and even death. Criptosporidium and Giardia are small, infectious microorganisms that may be found in our water supplies. The United States Environmental Protection Agency estimates that in the U.S. alone, approximately 155 million people are potentially at risk from these waterborne microbes. Earth is a delicately balanced system ideally suited to support life. Our rivers, lakes, and streams provide in abundance the most basic requirement of all living things, water. But the natural beauty of our water supply can also conceal dangerous, even deadly organisms. For over 35 years, Gelman Sciences has been dedicated to improving the critical tasks of environmental sampling and monitoring. One of our most recent innovations, the EnviroCheck sampling capsule, is engineered to maximize the recovery of organisms such as Criptosporidium and Giardia when testing surface water and municipal water supplies. Innovative, accurate testing devices like the EnviroCheck capsule will help ensure the purity of our most valuable resource, our water supply. This video will give you step-by-step instructions on how to use Gelman Sciences' new EnviroCheck sampling capsule for the capture and recovery of Criptosporidium oocysts and Giardia cysts from water supplies. Designed for testing surface water locations and municipal water supplies, the innovative EnviroCheck capsule eliminates the time-consuming steps required of traditional string-wound cartridges and minimizes technicians' exposure to contaminants. The EnviroCheck capsule is a self-contained unit that, when used with the established protocol, exhibits recoveries of 80% and higher. To obtain the highest possible recovery levels, it is critical to follow the simple protocol presented in this video. We will reference the following EnviroCheck components throughout this video. Housing. The EnviroCheck is a self-contained capsule unit. The large void volume allows for elution of organisms and sediment within the capsule housing, reduces processing variability, and minimizes exposure to contaminants. The upper cavity is the area inside the housing that surrounds the pleat pack. The open pleat pack membrane provides maximum recovery of retained materials. Patented Supor membrane provides excellent retention of organisms, and the 1-micron pore size meets industry guidelines for retention of Criptosporidium and Giardia. 1/2-inch hose barb inlet and outlet connections are supplied with easy-to-identify green vinyl end caps that are used during the transport and recovery steps. The bleed valve is used during sample collection to displace air with the water sample. Before beginning the collection steps, take an inventory of the few items you'll need to complete sample collection. The following items are recommended: EnviroCheck sampling capsule and protocol, water flow restrictor, water totalizer, 3 to 4 pieces of tubing, 5 to 9 band clamps, pump or pressurized water source, water-resistant pen or marker, and a water pressure regulator. In each EnviroCheck box, you'll find a written protocol that details how to use the EnviroCheck sampling capsule. Review the protocol completely before beginning sample collection. The EnviroCheck can be used with either a pump or connected directly to a pressurized water supply, such as a municipal water system. If you are using a pump, connect your tubing to the inlet of the pump. This tubing will be placed into your water source. To the outlet of the pump, connect the water pressure regulator and secure with a clamp. Attach a piece of tubing to the outlet of the water pressure regulator and secure with a clamp. Turn the pump on and flush 50 gallons of sample water through the pump regulator setup prior to sample collection. Flushing will clean the system of any residual contamination from previous testing. To begin collection, remove the EnviroCheck sampling capsule from the box. The EnviroCheck is packaged in a plastic bag to protect the capsule from outside contamination. Remove the EnviroCheck from the plastic bag, locate the two green vinyl end caps, and put them aside in a safe place. You will use these end caps later to seal off the capsule after sample collection. Begin by connecting the tubing from the outlet of the pressure regulator to the inlet of the EnviroCheck capsule. Secure with a band clamp. Attach another piece of tubing onto the outlet of the EnviroCheck and secure the tubing with a band clamp. Secure the opposite end of this tubing to the inlet of your water flow totalizer or meter with a band clamp. Attach another piece of tubing to the outlet of the water totalizer and secure that with a band clamp. To the opposite end of this tubing, attach a 2 liters per minute water flow restrictor or other means of flow control and secure with a band clamp. Your assembled system will have the following components: your water or sample source, a pump if used, water pressure regulator, the EnviroCheck sampling capsule, the water flow totalizer or meter, and the flow restrictor. Remember, Gelman Sciences recommends restricting the water flow rate to less than 2 liters per minute to obtain optimum recovery results. The system we are demonstrating uses a pump. If you are using a pressurized water system, you do not need a pump. You will simply connect the sampling system directly to the pressurized water source. Once the collection system is assembled, find the convenient label on the side of the EnviroCheck capsule. By recording data directly on the EnviroCheck label, you will ensure that the collection information remains with the sample at all times. Using a water-resistant pen or marker, record the start time, meter reading, technician name, date, and sample identification. Once the collection information has been recorded, you are ready to initiate water flow. Set the pressure regulator at 30 psi and start the pump, or open your pressurized water source. The EnviroCheck's clear polycarbonate housing will allow you to watch as the capsule fills with water. As the capsule fills, hold the EnviroCheck in an upright position, turn the bleed valve counterclockwise, and release the air from the capsule. Once the air has been displaced, close the bleed valve. Adjust the flow rate to achieve a maximum of 2 liters per minute. Pass 10 liters of the water sample through the EnviroCheck. As the water sample is being collected, you can prepare your cooler for sample transportation. Once 10 liters have passed through the EnviroCheck capsule, stop the water flow. Holding the capsule upright, remove the inlet hose from the inlet side of the capsule and cap the inlet with one of the green vinyl end caps supplied in the packaging. It is very important that you do not spill any of the water remaining in the upper chamber of the EnviroCheck capsule. This water is part of your sample, and you will need the water for accurate recovery of organisms. Holding the capsule upside down, disconnect the outlet hose from the EnviroCheck. Cap the outlet of the capsule with a green vinyl end cap. The green vinyl end caps seal your sample within the capsule and minimize your risk of exposure to contaminants. Using your water-resistant marker, record the stop time, meter reading, and if taken, the turbidity of the sample on the EnviroCheck label. Place the EnviroCheck sampling capsule into a cooler with ice. If you have collected numerous samples, you will find that a relatively small cooler can hold several EnviroCheck capsules. Your cooler filled with EnviroCheck samples is now ready for easy transportation to the lab performing the recovery steps. If you need to take additional samples, make sure that your tubing is flushed clean and that you collect each new sample with a new EnviroCheck capsule. Upon completing sample collection with the EnviroCheck capsule, you will realize these benefits: easy setup and handling, quick collection of 10 liters, safe to work with because there is no handling of large equipment or contaminated filters, easy to store and easy to transport to the lab. Now is a good time to take an inventory of all the items you'll need to complete the recovery steps. The following items are recommended: EnviroCheck sampling capsules with collected samples in protocol, wrist action shaker, 250 milliliter centrifuge bottles, 1 per sample, Elution buffer, 240 milliliters per sample. 10% neutral buffer formalin solution. Vortex. Graduated cylinder. Pipettes. 50 milliliter centrifuge tubes. Water-resistant pen or marker. And centrifuge. Prepare the elution buffer and neutral buffer formalin solution. You will need 240 milliliters of elution buffer to complete 2 120 milliliter rinses of each capsule during the recovery process. The EnviroCheck recovery procedure allows you to make your own buffer, which will save you money. We recommend that you follow the recipe found in our EnviroCheck protocol. Please note that if you are doing viability counts, it is recommended that you do not use formalin in the buffer solution. Instead, use a neutral buffered solution. Once your buffer is made, you can begin the recovery steps. For each capsule, remove the green vinyl end cap from the capsule inlet. If the capsule is more than half full with the water sample, pour all of the water from the capsule into a 250 milliliter centrifuge bottle. Set the bottle aside and label it. Now pour 120 milliliters of elution buffer into the EnviroCheck capsule and replace the green vinyl end cap. If the EnviroCheck capsule is less than half full with the water sample, do not pour the water out of the capsule. Instead, simply pour elution buffer into the EnviroCheck to equal 120 milliliters, about enough buffer to cover the top of the white pleated membrane filter. Replace the green vinyl end cap. Place each EnviroCheck capsule into a holder on the wrist action shaker. Adjust the capsule so that the bleed valve is at a 12 o'clock position. If you have more than one sample, you can load and agitate several samples at once, which will save you time. Remember that wrist action shakers must be balanced to agitate correctly. We recommend that you agitate an even number of EnviroCheck capsule samples at once, or otherwise make sure that the shaker is balanced. Agitate the capsules for 10 minutes at 600 RPM. Then remove the capsules from the wrist action shaker. Remove the green vinyl end cap from the capsule inlet and decant the elution buffer into a clean 250 milliliter centrifuge bottle. Do this separately for each sample being recovered. Label centrifuge bottles and set aside. Pour another 120 milliliters of elution buffer into the same EnviroCheck capsules and replace the green vinyl end cap. Place each EnviroCheck capsule on the wrist action shaker, this time adjusting the capsule so that the bleed valve is in the 3 or 9 o'clock position. Agitate the capsules again for 10 minutes at 600 RPM, and then remove the capsules from the wrist action shaker. Remove the green vinyl end cap from the inlet of the capsules and decant the elution buffer into the same 250 milliliter centrifuge bottles used previously for each sample. Place the centrifuge bottles into your centrifuge and centrifuge for 10 minutes at approximately 1100 Gs. After 10 minutes, decelerate slowly so that you do not disturb the pellet. Aspirate the elution buffer, which is now called supernatant, from the top of the pellet and be careful not to disturb the pellet. Discard the supernatant. Record the packed pellet volume, then resuspend the sample by vortexing. If you have more samples than your wrist action shaker will hold, transfer each pellet to a 50 milliliter centrifuge tube for convenient storage and refrigerate. For the final step, resuspend the pellet with an equal amount of 10% neutral buffered formalin solution. The EnviroCheck collection and recovery procedure is now complete, and you are ready to continue with the identification process of your choice. If you follow the simple collection and recovery steps presented in this video for Criptosporidium and Giardia collection and recovery, you should see the following benefits and results. Exceptional recoveries of 80% and higher, reduced processing time and variability, minimization of exposure to contaminants, collection record kept directly on capsule, ability to recover several samples at once. With the new EnviroCheck sampling capsule, Gelman Sciences continues its tradition of innovation and excellence in environmental sampling. Using the EnviroCheck sampling capsule to test surface water locations and municipal water supplies for Criptosporidium and Giardia is a critical step in ensuring the safety of our water supply.